While most contract revolutions come through protests or holdouts, Shedeur Sanders opted for a quieter, more potent route, a perfectly legal clause embedded in routine paperwork. It didn't make headlines at first, but once executives realized what the prime equity clause allowed him to do, the panic set in. By granting Sanders ownership of his own brand and a direct cut of all related revenue, if you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. It turned the athlete-franchise relationship upside down. Unlike past rebels who fought through controversy, Sanders followed every rule and still rewrote them. The shock isn't that it happened. It's that no one else thought of it first. His strategy wasn't built on confrontation. It was built on preparation. With Coach Prime's influence and a meticulous branding plan, Shedeur entered the league already ahead of the curve. What he sparked isn't just a conversation. It's a movement. A new generation of players is watching, and now they know there's another way forward. One where they own their story, their image, and their future. 2 minutes ago, Shedeur Sanders pulled off a move that just changed the NFL forever. And the haters are fuming. Because this wasn't just a contract extension. It was a controlled detonation of the league's oldest power structure. Shedeur, before even playing a single regular season down, forced the NFL to reckon with something it has avoided for decades. What happens when a player owns a product? Buried inside the paperwork of his deal with the Cleveland Browns was a clause. Quiet, deliberate, and completely unprecedented. It's called the Prime Equity Clause, and it flips everything upside down. Instead of handing over his name, image, and likeness rights to the league like every rookie before him, Shedeur retained full ownership. On top of that, he locked in 20% of all revenue generated from merchandise bearing his name. Read that again, 20% of everything tied to him. Jerseys, endorsements, highlight packages, promo clips. It doesn't funnel through the league. It doesn't get split with the team. That money goes to Shedeur Sanders. Directly. This wasn't just bold. It was surgical. It didn't happen through lawsuits or public rants or protest headlines. It happened through planning, through legal precision, through foresight, and a long-term strategy backed by someone who knows exactly how the system works. His father, Deion Coach Prime Sanders, has been warning for years about how athletes are exploited by the leagues they fuel. And now his son has executed the most effective answer to that criticism anyone's ever seen. Before taking a single hit in an NFL game, Shedeur had already earned over $14 million in profits, money completely independent of league revenue sharing models, not from contract bonuses, not from performance incentives, from his own brand, his own merchandise, his own media. And yes, this is without playing a snap. That kind of earning power, before you even start your job, is a nightmare scenario for a league that's built its empire on total control. For decades, the NFL has operated on a top-down model. The league controls the content, the merchandise, the revenue. Players get a paycheck, and everything else, the Shield keeps it. But Shedeur didn't sign up to be part of the machine. He came in as a partner, not an employee, a partner. And that distinction is why NFL front offices are in full-blown panic mode right now. Because here's the thing. If Shedeur can get this deal, so can others. And the NFL knows it. This is a nightmare scenario they didn't prepare for. Individual players asserting themselves as independent brands with pre-built fan bases, direct-to-audience platforms, and now legally enforced profit shares. Shedeur isn't just a football player. He's a business. A digital ecosystem, a fully operational brand that can exist with or without NFL approval. And that reality strips away the league's favorite illusion that the player's value only exists because of the NFL. No, Shedeur built his value before he got there. Through his college career at Colorado, he didn't just run the offense. He built a media empire, strategic social engagement, YouTube series, branded merch, behind-the-scenes content. His audience was already in place, already loyal, and already buying. That's why sponsors didn't wait for the NFL. They went straight to Shedeur. Because why wouldn't they? He had the numbers. He had the platform. He had the leverage. And now he has a contract to match. Let's not gloss over how rare this is. In the NFL, this type of autonomy doesn't exist. The league is famously resistant to giving players any meaningful control over their image rights, content distribution, or merchandise revenue. Even highlight clips are guarded like national secrets. Players can go viral on Sunday and still need permission to post their own footage. That's how tightly the NFL holds the reins. And Shedeur just broke the grip. His jersey sales alone in the first month already outpaced those of established stars. Not veterans. Stars. And here's the kicker. His personal cut from those jersey sales exceeded his rookie salary. That has never happened before. This is a signal flare to every rookie, every agent, every college star preparing for the draft. You are no longer just a player. You are a brand. You are the product. And you deserve a share. Some teams might welcome this shift. They'll try to be progressive, to use this model as a recruiting tool. Others, they see it as an existential threat. Because once players start demanding this clause as standard, the NFL loses its most powerful advantage, its total control over branding and monetization. This contract quietly kills the idea that the league is the center of value. It proves the value is created by the individual, not the institution. That fans don't buy jerseys because of logos. They buy them because of people. And when those people own their name, their likeness, and their content, the power shifts. And it's not just the NFL that's watching. The ripple effects are already being felt across other leagues. NBA agents are running the numbers. MLS is taking meetings. Combat sports promoters are asking questions because this isn't about football. It's about athlete empowerment. This deal is the first step in a broader movement, one that says the era of giving away your name for a salary is over. And it's not just rookies who are affected. Veteran players are now looking at their contracts and asking hard questions. Questions like, why aren't we entitled to a cut of our own jersey sales? Why does the league own my highlight footage? Why have I allowed my likeness to become a revenue stream I don't participate in? These aren't small questions. They're tectonic shifts in mindset. And now that a precedent exists, they can't be ignored. And none of this came from drama. That's the most powerful part. This wasn't born from a legal fight or a social media campaign. It was born from legal intelligence and structured planning. Shedeur didn't scream. He signed. And because he did it quietly and within the system, the league has no grounds to push back. This was never about rebellion. It was about evolution. And now, the door is open, permanently. What started as one clause in one contract is now a roadmap, a model, a new framework for how athletes interact with the industries that profit from them. And let's be real, this isn't going away. The NFL can try to spin it, try to act like Shedeur is a one-time anomaly, but that spin won't last long because the data is public, the revenue is real, and the audience, they're already on board. In fact, social media's response has been overwhelmingly in favor of Shedeur's move. Fans are backing him, not just because he's a great player, but because he stood up strategically for his own worth. He didn't wait for the league to value him. He valued himself and then brought it to the table. And now that he's shown it can be done, others will follow. Because you don't build a legacy by following old rules. You build it by rewriting them. Shedeur didn't come in loud. He came in prepared. And that's what makes this moment a turning point. Not just for him, not just for the Browns, but for the entire future of sports contracts. The NFL is entering a new phase. One where players are no longer just assets. They're partners. They're equity holders. They're brands in their own right. And it started here, with this clause, with this deal, with this moment. Like this video if you think Shedeur's move is the future of athlete contracts. Drop a comment and let us know. Should every pro athlete negotiate nil ownership into their deals? And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button. Because the power balance in pro sports is shifting fast. And you're going to want front row seats to every twist, every clash, and every breakthrough. Because Shedeur didn't just break the mold. He replaced it. And now that the mold's been shattered, let's talk about what's really at stake. Because this wasn't just a power move for Shedeur Sanders. This was a seismic warning to every league executive still clinging to the idea that the athlete is an employee first and a brand second. The whole blueprint the NFL has relied on for decades is officially outdated, obsolete, and thanks to Shedeur, exposed. You can already feel the scramble behind the scenes. Franchise owners calling emergency meetings. PR teams preparing messaging in case the next rookie starts asking questions. Legal departments reviewing contracts line by line, trying to figure out how this slipped past them and what they can do to stop it from happening again. But the truth is, they can't stop it, because now that the Shedeur clause exists, it can't be unseen. The minute this became public, it stopped being a one-time anomaly and became a demand waiting to happen. And not just from future rookies. Veteran players, guys who spent years in the league, who watched their names get plastered across jerseys, broadcast promos, digital ads, are waking up to the fact that they've been locked out of their own value. They watch the league make millions off their likeness, while they got nothing but a pat on the back and a clause in the CBA saying that's just how it works. But now, the just how it works excuse doesn't fly. Shedeur proved that a different way can work. Legally, cleanly, successfully, this is where the chaos really begins. Because if veterans start pushing back, if agents start refusing to sign deals without nil provisions, if players with massive followings start banding together and demanding brand equity instead of performance bonuses, the entire contract model collapses. Not overnight, but gradually, piece by piece. And once you pull that first thread, once the Shedeur clause is in play, good luck stitching the old system back together. The NFL's centralized control has always relied on silence, on players not knowing or not having the leverage, or just not wanting to rock the boat. But that silence has been broken, not with viral tweet or a mic drop moment, but with a clause buried in legal text, signed without fanfare and backed by results. Results like $14 million earned before a single regular season snap. Results like topping jersey sales without needing to break a rookie passing record. Results that show that value isn't defined by the number of games you played, but by the community you build, the brand you own, and the audience that's already watching. And let's talk about that for a second, the audience. Because Shedeur didn't show up with a blank slate. He showed up with a fan base. That's a massive difference. He didn't need the NFL to hand him visibility. He came in with visibility. And more importantly, engagement. His audience isn't just watching. They're buying, they're wearing his name, clicking his content, investing in his story. And that's what makes him dangerous. Not in the locker room, not to his team, but to the system. Because when you've already built your platform, you don't need the league's machine to carry you. You become the machine. The player is the product. And once that's true, the league no longer controls the narrative. This isn't just about football. It's about the future of athlete identity, ownership, control. The Shedeur clause is a quiet revolution, the kind that doesn't need a protest to make noise. It changes things from the inside, precisely because it doesn't demand permission. And that's why it works. It's already influencing conversations across the sports world. NBA agents are reviewing contracts with a new lens. MLS players are beginning to explore merchandise ownership. Even fighters in combat sports, where brand equity is often tied to personal identity, are looking at how they've let third parties take too much for too long. Everyone's watching, because everyone wants the blueprint. The question now isn't whether the Shedeur clause will catch on. It's how fast it spreads, and how hard the NFL will fight to contain it. But let's be honest, the league isn't equipped to shut this down. They can't call it a violation. It's legally sound. They can't say it disrupts team cohesion. It's a contract, not a campaign. They can't punish him for having fans. He didn't create the market. He just served it better than they did. What they can do is stall, delay, spin the narrative, act like Shedeur is an exception, a rare case, a media anomaly, a generational talent who can get away with things others can't. But the numbers say otherwise. The numbers say this is scalable, repeatable, sustainable. Because if Shedeur can pull in $14 million with no regular season stats to his name, what's stopping the next top draft pick from doing the same? What's stopping players with even bigger college followings, more viral moments, or stronger sponsor ties? Nothing. That's the problem for the league, and the opportunity for everyone else. the more players claim ownership, the harder it becomes for the league to pretend they're the center of the universe. Because here's the truth that Shedeur just made impossible to ignore. The NFL's power isn't the shield. It's in the players. They're the ones fans care about. They're the ones driving merchandise sales. They're the ones making clips go viral, bringing in viewers, keeping the machine alive. And now, thanks to one clause, one signature, one quiet revolution, players are starting to realize they can cash in without giving the league the first cut. It's not about ego. It's not about being bigger than the game. It's about fairness, about agency, about finally owning the thing you've always been told you had no rights to, your own name. So when the haters say, he hasn't even proven anything on the field yet, let them talk. Because while they're measuring touchdowns, Shedeur is measuring margins. And he's already winning. This is what disruption looks like. Not loud, not messy, just precise. And the NFL will never be the same. So let's talk about the next phase. Because now that the Shedeur clause exists, the league has two options: evolve or resist. And let's be honest, they'll resist first. You know how this goes. The NFL is a fortress of tradition. They're not known for being agile or transparent. When something threatens a structure, they don't pivot. They double down. Which means right now, behind the scenes, the scramble is real. Legal teams are reviewing rookie contract templates. Owners are questioning why this wasn't blocked earlier. Player development staff are being told to keep players focused on football, as if they can distract them from realizing their walking revenue streams being told to settle for crumbs. But here's the thing they can't unsee. It worked. Shedeur Sanders earned $14 million before the season even started, not from a hot signing bonus or shoe deal brokered through league channels. That money came from direct ownership. His name, his merch, his media. And fans didn't wait to see him play. They showed up because they already bought in. That's what breaks the NFL's illusion. Because the league has always insisted that value flows from the shield. That if you want to be big, you need their platform, their team, their broadcast. But Shedeur turned that inside out. His brand showed up already valuable. The NFL just had to catch up. And fans proved it. In 1 month, his jersey sales exceeded those of players who've been in the league for years. Some of these guys are Pro Bowlers, Super Bowl vets, household names. And yet, there's Shedeur, a rookie with no official snaps, outselling them all. That's not hype. That's leverage. And what did Shedeur do with that leverage? He used it exactly the way power is supposed to be used when you know your worth. Quietly, strategically, and without compromise. The prime equity clause was never about being flashy. It was about control. It was about putting something in writing that the league has refused to acknowledge for years. The player is the product. And if the player is the product, then the player deserves a share. This isn't just a Shedeur Sanders story. This is a turning point in how contracts are going to look across sports. Because this is how revolutions start. Not with riots, with receipts. And Shedeur's receipts are loud. $14 million loud. 20% revenue share loud. Full NIL ownership as a rookie loud. He didn't kick the door down. He filed the paperwork, walked in, and sat at the table like he owned half the building. Because now he does. And this moment didn't require a meltdown. It didn't require a strike. It didn't even require public pressure. That's what his NFL execs pacing. Because Shedeur did this without controversy. He didn't fight the system. He just sidestepped it. And the scariest part for the old guard? It worked. Completely. Cleanly. Legally. There's no chaos in the league to point at. No misstep to weaponize. Just a player who understood the rules better than they did. And used that understanding to flip the board. So now what? The next wave of athletes is watching. College stars. High school prospects. Players who've already built digital audiences before they've even declared for the draft. They're seeing what Shedeur did, and they're asking the right questions. Why should I give up control of my brand? Why should the league own my highlight reels? Why shouldn't I get a cut of every jersey with my name on it? And when teams start replying with, well, that's just how it's always been, those players are going to walk, or they'll hold out, or they'll sign with the franchises that get it, the ones that adapt. Because now there's precedent. Legal, public precedent. A model deal that proves you can sign a professional contract and still keep your name, your image, your business. And that precedent is more powerful than any speech, any protest, any viral tweet. It's written into the language of the league now. And if you think this is only going to affect rookies, think again. Veterans are lining up too. Guys in their third or fourth year, still under team-friendly deals, who built massive platforms on social media, YouTube, Twitch, platforms they weren't sure how to monetize under their current contracts. Now, they have a reason to renegotiate. They've seen a clause that reflects what they're worth, and they want it. You're going to see a shift in locker rooms. Quiet at first. Players trading notes, comparing contracts. Agents on the phone with general managers, asking uncomfortable questions. Those conversations aren't going to go away, because the Shedeur clause doesn't just empower. It embarrasses the current system. It highlights how broken the model has always been. That it's taken this long for a player to be granted the right to earn from the name on the back of his own jersey, that's not just outdated. It's indefensible. And now it's also unsustainable. Because once the market adapts, and fans begin to understand that buying a Shedeur Sanders jersey means he gets a real piece of profit, good luck selling anyone else's without questions. Consumers are shifting too. Fans don't just want to support teams anymore. They want to support people, players, individuals. And when they know their money is going to the person they admire, not just a billion-dollar machine, they'll follow that. They already are. That's the new reality the NFL is walking into, whether they like it or not. And to their credit, some execs see the opportunity here. Some are already thinking, what if we embrace this? What if we offered nil clauses to top-tier talent as a competitive advantage? But for every open-minded GM, there's an old-school owner clutching their pearls over the thought of a player actually owning his identity. To those owners, it's too late. The Shedeur clause is out in the wild now, and it's not going back in the box. This isn't theory. This isn't speculation. This is a fully executed multi-million-dollar deal that proves athletes can enter professional sports as business owners, not just employees. And when that model becomes the expectation, everything changes. You don't have to guess. You just have to look at the numbers. Shedeur made more from his brand than his salary. His jersey outsold stars. His content drew sponsors before the NFL had a chance to package him. That's the future. Direct-to-audience value. Brand-first athletes. Revenue streams that don't go through corporate middlemen. So if you're still waiting for the league to figure it out, don't. The players already have. And Shedeur, he didn't just break into the league. He walked in with ownership paperwork in hand and a fan base already spending money. The NFL didn't make Shedeur Sanders. They just licensed him. And now, they'll be paying for the privilege. If you're still with us, drop a comment. Should every player get a Shedeur-style clause? Like this video if you think the power is shifting where it belongs. And hit that subscribe button, because this isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter in how professional athletes build wealth, control their image, and rewrite the game itself. Shedeur didn't just change the rules. He owns them now.